So this is going to be a different type of video than the ones you are probably used to seeing here on this channel, but here we go anyway. Now, before I start, I wanted to mention that I'm going to say a lot of different brand names in this video. This video is not sponsored. The only affiliation I have with anything is that I am a partner with ArenaNet. Beyond that, any other device or product that is shown here, I have paid for myself. There is no affiliation with any of these companies, so let's get started. First off, when it was announced that Reforged was coming to mobile, I was super excited. I am not a super big mobile gamer in terms of like the Nintendo Switch or the ROG Ally or Steam Decks or anything, but I do have a cell phone, and in fact, the phone that I have is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, which I specifically purchased due to its processor, which is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is a really impressive processor. Why did I want this one? Well, because believe it or not, I do quite a bit of emulation on my phones, and I wanted the power to essentially bring all my favorite games with me. Between emulation and Steam Link, I was pretty happy, but for now, we actually have a game that was formerly only on PC getting ported to mobile, and now I can bring yet another one of my favorite games out and about with me. My first impression was actually pretty interesting. I wanted to note that this application is basically in early access. It is in soft launch, so if you are watching from one of these specific countries, you can go ahead and download it now. If you're watching from the United States, however, or a lot of places in Europe, it is not quite ready for release yet, and you'll see some of those problems here. But since I am a partner, I was given access to kind of that soft launch version, the version that others are able to get if they are in Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, or Canada. And that is thanks to ArenaNet. So shout out to them. But let's get into my thoughts on Reforged on mobile. This serves not only as a showcase for anyone looking to play the game on mobile, but also some feedback to ArenaNet and share what I consider to be some of the critical problems or features that I would like once we get into that like full launch environment scenario. First things first, the touchscreen feels very responsive. The UI is reasonably fitting, though I will say that it did surprise me that they lack the outright customizability that the PC client has. I think that this is mostly for good reason. Overall, the layout does seem to work pretty well. However, I would like the option to change things up. There are a couple of UI and graphics problems that I found right up front, mostly when dealing with heroes. Many players like to micromanage their heroes to some degree, and when I opened up the panel, it basically like full screens, and if I did interact with the skill bar, it dumps me over to like the skills panel, which is kind of a minor nitpick. The actual skills panel where you have all your heroes racked is probably the best way to manage skills and stuff on the mobile version. But the build portion of this does seem to function fine in terms of loading out your build or loading out your heroes. However, I did not see or find a template system. Now, this is primarily what you use when you are playing on PC for any length of time, because it will be extremely tedious making changes to builds on mobile, especially if you're doing it with multiple heroes. It would be nice to have the ability to save off templates and load them just like we do on the PC version. In terms of combat and looting, if you just let your heroes and party function using their native AI, everything is really smooth. It's just like playing on PC. There are a few things that are strange. There's like no zoom in or zoom out pinch functions built in, even though you do have an analog stick type function where your left thumb rests. I was excited to hook up my Backbone controller to see if there was any controller support from the PC that ported over to the Reforged app, and I was disappointed. It does appear that the D-pad does function, which is kind of interesting. However, none of the other controls did. I looked at the interface and the macros, and I could not find any way to reasonably map controllers or key presses. This surprised me because many other MMOs in current day do have this functionality built in. The most recent example I have of this is Blue Protocol, which does have this kind of like PC version, mobile app version, cross-play functionality. So I know it can be done, and so this is a call to 2 weeks. Go ahead, make that happen for me, please. There was one other thing that I noticed, which I had already reported back, but I wanted to reiterate so that way any of you guys who do try this out are aware. For me, my phone seemed to get really hot, not like overheating heating hot, but hotter than I have felt it in a long time, especially when I'm playing video games on it. Like most of the time, it's just fine. It's just like a normal phone. But when I'm playing Reforged, it does get hot. And apparently this has to do with some optimization on the back end. Basically, the phone is overworking because some limits aren't in place yet. This is something that is going to be corrected very soon by the time we get into like a full launch scenario. So if you are experiencing this and you do have a higher end phone, the Pixels, the Galaxies, or so on, you may experience this as well. I did find some better clarity from dropping my UI size down. Normally on PC, I play on a 32-inch 4K monitor, so I typically blast all my UIs to the largest so I can easily read them. However, on mobile, if you have everything set to large scale, you will find your screen does get quite cluttered, especially with the buff bar and so on. I was kind of looking to keep my UIs large and then customize my UI and like shrinking some individual things down, which is something you definitely can do on PC, but we don't really have that UI customization at this point. But from what I can tell, it's basically all there. The only real criticism I have at this point are some UI customization, some optimization for higher end devices, and the inclusion of formal controller support on the mobile app side of the house. We already have, Steam Deck support and this and this and this, but we don't have it for like backbone controllers or controllers that are designed for the phone, which is kind of weird. This should also go into being able to keybind actions with controller. I think like the hero skills or commands or something like that, like right trigger plus X or circle. I mean, you know what I mean, like being able to make your own keybinds to kind of customize your controller outputs. But for the most part, I could see Reforged being a pretty fun way to interact with the game. I did show it to some of my real life friends and coworkers that are gamers who did play Guild Wars back in the day and then fell off from the franchise, never picked up Guild Wars 2 or anything like that. And they are super, super impressed with it. They love to see it. And that brought forth another thing that I think is so good about Reforged is that if you and your homies are hanging out at somebody's house and you guys want to play a game together, this kind of gives you that ability to kind of couch co-op, even though you're just playing on your phones. You know what I mean? Like you can all squad up, get in the game. I was playing on relatively poor cellular data and it was actually running really smooth, very little lag, very little like glitches and stuff like that, even with not the hottest cell phone reception. So if you're playing over Wi-Fi or you got good signal, good 4G, good 5G, you're going to have a really flawless experience. And if you haven't played Guild Wars, I think that this is a great way to interact with the game. It's a giant game and being able to make progress little by little when you're like out and about makes a huge difference. And like I said, even though there is no real controller support, the touchscreen UI controls are actually really fluid and really smooth. So whether you're just farming some dungeons or farming some stuff for like Gifts of the Traveler, it's awesome to be able to like log into your account and have some fun with it. One of the things I'm really hoping gets included natively on both the mobile and PC version is either an adjustment to the cartography achievement in terms of making it a little easier so you don't need to scrape as much, or inclusion of a built-in text mod or UMod where there is a checkbox that turns all of the fog of war on any unmapped portion of your map blue. This is a mod that people do to the game when they're doing God Walking Amongst Mere Mortals, and it's almost mandatory for getting the cartography done. Like if you did it without text mod or UMod, good for you, but it makes things significantly more clear, like, hey, this area is undiscovered yet. So if we want Guild Wars Reforged to be able to like be fully capable where people are like, okay, I play on mobile, but I don't want to have to play on PC, having access to that little checkbox function that will alter those shaders is going to be a huge buff, going to be a great addition. So if I had a wish list, I would definitely include that. Overall, considering it is in early access still, or it's kind of in a pseudo alpha, it's really good, really flushed out. I didn't really have any crashes or anything. I'll definitely be including it in my out and about rotation of games. Right now I'm kind of playing through Pokemon Yellow, but it's always good to have in my back pocket when I'm visiting in-laws or I'm at a birthday party or something and I want to just go off and get a little bit of alone time. With that, I hope you enjoyed this style style of video. If you want more videos like this, let me know in the comments. Again, I am an ArenaNet partner, and if you want to support the channel, you can use my referral link for Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars Reforged if you choose to buy it. I will note that there is full crossplay for the ArenaNet client version of Reforged. It is currently not available through Steam. You cannot log into your Steam version of Reforged. So if you do play on Steam, just keep that in mind. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Big thanks to all my subscribers, and a special thanks to all of my members who support the channel. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.